Hello, you join me in the Ferrari. I am just popping out to the shops to do my sort of weekly shop and get my sort of bits and pieces, and I thought, well, seeing as it's dry out, I'll take this. And I'm just driving on the way, just going into Cribbs Causeway, so I can park up and get the things I need. And I thought I'll bring the camera with me and just talk about what the F430 is like to drive in the real world. Because yes, it's a supercar and it's Italian, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an absolute pain in the arse. This car was so much more compliant and more usable than I ever thought it would be. The car's got quite a good ground clearance, so there's a few sort of speed humps and things coming out of the village, and I find that the F430 sort of clears them really well, as long as you take them a bit easy. And because of the ride height, perhaps it's got a really compliant sort of suspension, and the car sort of glides around. I probably can't tell on camera, but you're not sort of like being shaken around in the cabin of the F430 as you go down this country road. It's not an unpleasant experience at all. It's actually really nice to drive at low speed, which is a thing that more modern cars are struggling with. The more modern the cars get, I tend to find that you have to drive them really quickly to sort of understand what they're all about. Whereas with the older cars, you can sort of, they give a sense of occasion, a sense of theatre, just driving them at normal speed. And that's something that I found just driving around the villages here, is that you do 30 miles an hour, the sound, the way that everything feels, it feels special. It doesn't feel mundane at all. Like, there's never a dull moment in this thing. Whether you're looking down the mirrors and you've got those air intakes sort of beaming down at you like a 250 LM, or whether you're looking over the nose and you see the sort of the flanks of the front wings in the windscreen line, it feels special to drive. And you're always reminded of when you're driving something special by the yellow badge in the steering wheel with the black horse just dancing away as you turn the steering wheel. And of course, my car's got the manual gearbox, so every time you change gear, that's a sense of occasion, and with a satisfying sort of aluminium click every time you change gear. So yeah, I'm smitten to bits by the car. But I thought I'd do a little bit of a video as an excuse to sort of drop just on the way to the supermarket and talk about what it's like. Speed-wise, it's 483 horsepower from a 4.3 litre V8, which is not a monumental amount of power now. I mean, the entry-level Aston Martin Vantage has more power than that. The Ferrari Portofino has more power than that. But what this car delivers is a very analogue experience. It's one of the last Ferraris where there wasn't much electronic intervention. So yes, it's got traction control and ABS and a fancy sort of e-diff system, but everything still feels very analogue. The pedals, the gearbox, the steering was hydraulic. It's not the electric steer that came out in the 458. It's the last of the hydraulic sort of steering system, so you feel very connected to the road. And yeah, speed-wise, it's plenty enough fast. But it's not so fast that to get any sort of, like I said earlier, any sort of thrill, you don't have to be doing 150 miles an hour. You can cruise along at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour like I am now in this car, and it just feels great. You don't feel as sort of egged on to sort of go absolutely nuts. I mean, it'll do 200 miles an hour or just under, as the manufacturer states, but you don't feel like you have to do that to sort of feel the best part of the car. Tyres on the car, and they are sensational. I've never known such a good set of tyres on any car. I've driven this car in torrential wet weather, in ice, and the car's never really scared me. obviously I'm not in wet weather and sort of adverse conditions. The car's got like a wet mode for the diff, the traction, and I tend to put it in that, and you just kind of cruise and not trying to stab the throttle really. But even when I do that, the car is so easy to drive, and when I put it into sport or even race, it just basically takes a bit of the electronic intervention away. Coming to a little underpass now, so I'll crack a window. I'm rude not to. Get a bit of sound. Tyres and everything. The brakes are great. I don't think they're the best brakes in the world. They do the job in slowing the car down when it needs to. My car's got the steel discs. You could get carbon ceramic brakes in the F430. In fact, the carbon ceramic brakes were standard on the last of the F430s. But I'm quite glad my car doesn't have carbon ceramic brakes, because as good as carbon ceramic brakes are, when the F430 came out, ceramic brakes were still relatively a new technology. So carbon brakes have moved on considerably since then. So the carbon brakes you get on like a brand new Ferrari or a new Aston or whatever, they're much better than the carbon brakes that would have been available at the time for the F430. So I wouldn't have seen much of a benefit in that. Plus, if I wear these brakes out, they're fairly inexpensive to replace. I can get a whole set of discs for a few £100s for the car. Whereas if I had ceramics, it would be several £1,000s for a set of discs. So I'm quite happy with the steel brakes in this car. One question I get asked a lot is the clutch. What's the clutch like? It's amazing. It's not light enough so it feels spongy and uncommunicative, but it's not heavy enough like a Countach or like an 80s or 90s sort of hairy-chested supercar. It's firm, is how I describe it. The clutch has a lovely sort of progressiveness to it. I think the clutch was recently done in this car before I bought it. And when I'm manoeuvring the car at low speed in a car park or on the driveway, I don't have to use any throttle at all. I can just use the clutch pedal and just move the car up and down, even right down to the driveway. I don't even have to press the throttle until I'm actually on the road, so which is good. The clutch pedal has quite a long travel, which I found surprising. But one thing I really like is the way the pedals are spaced. The pedals are these lovely sort of aluminium sort of finish, and they're spaced really well. So if you want to sort of blip your downshifts and things, it's 100% possible. The gearbox itself takes a bit of getting used to because it's gated. It's an open gate system, so you have the individual slots that the actual gear shifter goes into. So there's not really much room for error. So you find yourself when you first drive a manual Ferrari, they keep bouncing the gear stick off of the little sort of teeth inside the gate. But thankfully you get used to it quite easily, and once you get the hang of this gearbox, there's like nothing else. The way that the actual gear shifter that sits in the palm of your hand is like an oversized metal golf ball. It's sensational. It's just so satisfying. Oh, it's lovely. And when you're really going for it, I go through the gears, it just sounds absolutely spectacular. What else can I talk about in terms of driving feel? Steering, like I said, is lovely. Visibility is great. I was actually surprised. The visibility is first class. The mirrors are quite thin, but they're quite wide and they stick out quite far. So as a result of that, I can see all around me, and the mirror, the rear view mirror here, I can see right through that lovely pane of glass that covers the engine bay. So visibility is not a problem at all. In fact, there's pretty much no real blind spot in comparison to a normal car. Road noise, as you probably tell, I'm raising my voice a little bit. At low speed it's absolutely fine. When you're doing sort of 70 miles an hour and and above, you get a bit more sort of road noise from the tyres, which is expected. It's a sports car, but no real complaints from the road noise aspect or the usability of it from that aspect at all. In terms of infotainment, I don't really care. It's a sports car, so you never really buy a car like this for what gizmos it has, but it has a nice sound system, and it's got Bluetooth and nav, but it's got the old Becker sat nav from the 2000s, so it's terrible. So I never use it. In fact, as I'm speaking now, the whole system's turned off, and I tend to keep the system turned off all the time because I'm listening to the exhaust. This car's got the standard exhaust on it. I've taken the exhaust sort of valve control sort of lines off, so the valves are constantly open, which gives it a lovely sound. In fact, I don't know, coming out of this little village here, whether I can maybe take the windows down a bit and show you what it sounds like. You might get a lot of buffeting, but we'll give it a try. What I'll do at some point, I'll get a GoPro, I'll stick it to the car, so you can probably hear the exhaust a bit better. But it's a great sound, absolutely great sounding car. There's kind of speed bumps here. But yeah, I just want to do a quick video just to talk about driving impressions and things on the way to the supermarket. What we'll do when I get to the supermarket, we'll see if the shopping fits in it. I'm going to get a few things, get some beers, I'm going to get some soft drinks, milk, pizzas, things like that. And we'll see how it is. So I'm going to sign out on this part of the video, and I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. Okay, so we have managed to do a successful shop at the supermarket, and I made a conscious effort to load my trolley up of lots and lots of awkward bulky items, sort of test out the boot space. And when I got back, there was a crowd of people around my car who wanted to ask some questions about it, so I didn't feel conscious enough to film myself loading my shopping into my car. So what I'll do is I'll spin us back to the house, and from there we will see how much shopping I managed to get into the boot of this car, which is quite a lot. With still room, I managed to get all the shopping actually into the boot of the car without having to utilise the passenger seat or anything, so I'm quite impressed with that one. But let's just get out of Morrison's for the minute. That's job number one. People look at you like you're absolutely barking mad driving a Ferrari to a supermarket, but hey, it's a car at the end of the day, isn't it? It's got 4 wheels, it's got a boot space, it's taxed, it's insured, why not? Car, when it's cold, second gear sticks, which is a characteristic of all Italian cars. Second gear is almost like unavailable when the car's cold. You have to really force it in there if you want it. So you're best off changing from first to third until the car's warm, and it takes ages to get warm. And the car has to sit That's my sales manager, Matthew. So I'm going to go in and say hello to him, and I'll join you in a few minutes. So yes, apologies about that. We were talking about how the car takes a while to warm up. When you turn the car on, it seems to take ages for the needle to come off of the cold part of the temperature gauge for both water and oil. Water gets up there in a few minutes, but to get up to optimum temperature, which is about 90 odd degrees, takes about 10 minutes or so to get proper warm. So it's not one of those cars you sort of get into and just start spanking down the road straight away. Well, there's no car you're supposed to do that in. But yeah, once it's warm, it's absolutely lovely, and the exhaust changes as well once it's warm. But the point I was making the video was just sort of like talk about what it's like to drive, because everyone says, oh, it must be hard work, and it's not really. I mean, you just see I've taken it down to the supermarket and I've reverse parked it, that sort of stuff. It's not really, the visibility is good, the controls aren't too heavy. It's actually quite a forgiving car. When you're driving at the limit, which I haven't really done yet, don't really plan to, because I haven't need to do that on track, and it's only so fast you should ever drive on a road. You know, it's I'm sure it's a different animal when you're on a track, and people say to me, you should take it on a track day, and I'd love, I couldn't think of anything better than take this car on a track like Castle Combe or somewhere like that, and have a proper go at it. But one thing I'm really worried about in the back of my mind is, you know, on a track day, you've got some lad in his sort of £100 Citroen Saxo track car going absolutely 10 tenths trying to find out the limit of his talent. And I don't want to be on the receiving end if he runs out of talent and decides to pile into the side of my car, because let's face it, very few insurance companies, in fact, if any, are actually going to cover you for driving a car on a track. And I just don't want to have that conversation. So maybe one day, if it's like a particular track day, maybe like a Ferrari Owners Club track day or something, I might be interested in tagging along and seeing what the car's like, because then you're less likely to come across someone that's going to, ruin your pride and joy. Let's face it, even on a track, I wouldn't be driving this thing flat out. I'm just too nervous about it. I've got too much of my financial sort of investment tied up into it, so I don't want to see it sort of, a pile of red broken metal in the corner of a gravel trip somewhere. Anyway, I'm nearing home now, so I'm going to sign off, and on the other end we'll unpack the boot of the car and see how much shopping we've got in it. Okay, so we are home. This little button here is the one that opens the trunk, so let's pop that, and let's go and see what we managed to achieve getting into the front of the car. So there's like a little latch to the right, and then we open up the boot. So in the boot of an F430, aside from my shopping, as you can see here, you've got a toolkit that comes with the car. You've got a tyre inflation kit because there's no spare, and you also get a CD changer, which is in there as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull stuff out, and I'll show you what we got in here. We've got a big bag like milk and pizzas, donuts, mini cheddars, and juice and rum. So we got that big sort of bag for life in the front there. So it's quite a big bag. And as you can see, I've got a pallet of Pepsi Max, which sits in there, because the good thing about this car is that the boot is actually quite deep, as you can see. So it's got a really good depth to it, so you can really stack the stuff in. We've got a couple of packs of beer, some tinnies of beer, which is always good to have in the fridge. And I've also got my Peronis, which is my favourite beer at the moment. I'm not going to get that big box out of one hand, so I'm going to leave that in there for the minute. But and also some Dr. Peppers as well. So as you can see, there's plenty of stuff that you can fit into the boot of it, and it's not exactly looking full. So I'm sure if you put your mind to it, you could really stock it up. And I already had in here, don't forget, my G-Technic sort of ceramic coating aftercare kit, and some old number plates and things. So yeah, it's really quite surprising. Anyway, so I'm going to sign off from that. So thank you for watching this video. I'm going to think of some more creative content I could possibly do. with the car and with other things as well. I've got some questions actually for part 5 of Ask George, so that will be coming next, I'm sure. Including some questions from a very favourite YouTuber. So all to be revealed soon. Thanks for watching. See you later.